traveling back through the stage if you take them all out. They also, of course, respawn anytime you leave the screen and come back, so that you can build up again and again. But, like I said, that's just some time-consuming stuff if you want to, because sometimes they drop it, sometimes they don't. Now, after we complete this stage, we have some cutscenes. It's kind of like the halfway point or so of the game. As you can see, we're actually going to Mars now. So here is our next stage, and it's the introduction of these pretty annoying robots. They're not as bad as probably the ones that were homing in on us as much from the X-ray stage, but they're definitely annoying. And you're going to need to take them out in order to advance to the next parts of the stage. You have to take out all the enemies, then you'll be able to go through the gray at the end and continue on. Now, as far as the robot goes, their weapon that they do shoot out can be a little bit annoying because of the way it moves, the way it travels, but you can get used to that after a little bit of practicing with it. And with the robot itself, since you can duck and it can't hit you while it travels over you, that's a good strategy to at least avoid some of the damage from it. I guess one of the better things to say about the level is that at least we do have the gun in this stage. Now this is thankfully the last part where we'll have to face off the robot and the guard here, and we'll be done this level after this little segment here. Take out the robot one more time, and then travel down to the guard. Avoid the grenades that the guard throws out, but he's pretty much as easy as all the other random guards that we have faced up to this point, other than he can block some of your shots. Destroy the little gun turret on the wall, and when you reach the exit here, we go on to the next stage, which is a driving segment. Now when we start off the stage, you'll easily see it pretty much looks like it controls rather badly, and it does. No matter probably how good you get with it, you'll still never be perfect with it, because it's just very sloppy moving up and down. Moving forward at least works, but moving up and down just sometimes will not work when you want it to. You have to be rather quick to try to avoid damage. You'll end up running in the walls on a pretty consistent basis, and getting through some of the small corridors can be almost impossible going full speed. Thankfully, there are some health items on the ground, and you do have a weapon to shoot out to take out some of the enemies if they do get right in front of you. The only obnoxious thing is anytime you do hit a wall, you do end up taking some damage, as well as you take damage from the enemies that are firing, but thankfully, it's not too much. The only other good thing is the level isn't extremely long. Now, this is another one of kind of the basic stages of the game. There's actually at least a little bit more variety in terms of the enemies. The main annoyance is the boomerang throwing enemies, but you can shoot them from a distance, and their boomerang doesn't go out too far. So usually you'll be able to stand far enough away from them to fire at them before the boomerang hits you, or just completely avoid it altogether. There's also really only one path to take throughout the level, so at least that aspect is easy. And you have to at least laugh at the cats, the amount of cats that are trying to chase you down and take you out. When we get over this part, we can drop down, even though it kind of looks like we can't. You can actually drop down there, and enter the last resort to enter the next stage. Now this stage takes our platforming skill in this game to the next level, and can be very, very annoying. Because you can see how the background was for it, it may not have looked like I could actually land on that one platform that I did. Keep traveling through all the exits, follow this path, watch out for the rocks that drop down. If you jump right here, you'll see that you can actually duck underneath the rocks as they travel along the mountain so that you don't take any damage from them. Walk to the right here, we have our next boss. You have to jump up and shoot the guy in the head as he travels towards you. He'll duck down from time to time, and then he'll come back up, so you have to wait for him to come back up. The good thing is about it, thankfully, he can't travel all the way to the right and hit you, so it ends up being a very easy boss battle, especially compared to the boss battle we previously fought. After a good amount of shots, you'll knock his head completely off, it'll flip off, and now we actually are in the final level of the game. Now this is the final stage of the game, and you're going to try to conserve your health because you're going to need it for the final boss. However, the enemies take multiple shots to kill, and the jetpack guys can be very annoying. Also, while traveling through the stage, there's little bits of electricity that hit you as well, so that can be obnoxious to deal with. Take out any of the guys on the ground first, and then jump up to shoot the jetpack guys when you need to, and then when traveling through the rest of the area, try to avoid the electricity, jump over it if possible, wait for it to go away, but you're probably going to take at least a few hits of damage. The good thing is, the boss is very easy. Now once the background changes, we know that we're actually facing the final boss. Stand still and just keep pressing the fire button as fast as possible. Every time you hit him, he jumps up in the air, and because of that, he'll never actually be able to do any damage to you. So even if you only have one hit left in terms of your health bar, you should be able to finish him off. Once he's been defeated, we now have our last cutscene and the ending of the game. Now we get to see the mountain explode with water going everywhere to create the atmosphere for the planet. If you've never seen the film, that was kind of the climax of it, so it does follow the film at least a little bit compared to some of the other NES games that we have seen in the past. At least they try to follow the film. It's just too bad they couldn't have made an overall solid video game as well with that whole experience to make a great game. The only good thing to really say about the game is thankfully it is pretty short. But since the first couple of bosses are so obnoxious, most people probably never even get past those levels to see that the game is relatively short. This is also the ending to the game. There is no credit screen because of that credit screen at the beginning of the game when you could have entered the theater to watch them. And with that, that's going to wrap up another edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.